Welcome to the Arduino SpinBot Construction Series video. In this video I'm going to show you how to connect the Arduino Nano board to our switch plate and our switch plate to our base. So let's get started. So I have the switch plate here that I've laser cut and I've already peeled the paper off. And I also have my Arduino Nano board. And this Nano board I've already pre-soldered on the header pins, and these are female header pins. Depends on the type of board you're using, but you might have these male pins and or the female. It doesn't matter, whichever one you have. It'll be similar to this. And I've also put some black electrical tape on the bottom to protect the components, and all I did was just cut a piece of tape to fit and just firmly pressed it down. This way I don't have to worry about any of the components on the bottom, metal solder tips coming in contact with any of the metal on our motor controller. So now I'm ready to connect it to our switch board, and I'll just test it first. That fits nice and snug. And what I want to do is use some super glue, preferably with a brush because it's just easier to control. And then I'm just going to dab some on the ends of these pin connectors and the end of the board as well, on both sides. Not too much, just enough to hold it. And once I do that, just once again push it back into the slot. There we go. And you can see it fits nice and snug. It's the end of the board. And we'll just wait a minute, that'll dry and be ready to connect to our base. And to connect this to the base, we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to add a little bit of super glue to the bottom here and then slide it right into the slot. And we'll just check that before we do. And you can see it slides again snugly in place. And it looks like that'll be fine. So we'll take that out. Add a little super glue. To both sides. Now it's ready to slide back in. I just want to double check, make sure that it's straight, perpendicular, even. It's not twisted or in any way misaligned. I can move that around a little bit until it's firm. So while that's drying, I'll prepare some of these wires. And you notice I have, again, 3 red, 1 black. And the first red wire is actually going to be for connecting the nano board in the voltage slot to our motor controller. So this way we can get power to the board. To do that, I'm just going to slip it, push it right in, and bend it down. Bring it down right alongside the board, right to our motor controller. So once again, I want to just snip that so that, and then using my wire strippers, I'm going to strip off about 1/4 inch, just enough to get it into the motor controller slot. And once again, I just want to make sure that there's my first wire. I'm going to take a black wire, and this is my ground wire. This one we're not going to connect to anything yet because we are going to connect it to the black battery wires and our LED wire when we're ready. So once again, just folding it, bending it down so that it's roughly over here where it's going to be when we connect with those other wires. You'll see it's about where we want it. And now we're ready for our switch and our switch plate. So here's the push button switch we're using, and we want to put it so that it's in the off position, facing down, and then we're just going to, this just slips right in there. It fits rather snugly, but you'll hear it clip. That clicks into place, and then it also helps keep these two wires in place. And then I've got two wires here that I'm ready to crimp into a female wire connector. It matches the wire connector on our switch. You could use a similar switch or a different switch, either one. Just make sure you have the right connectors. And I'm just going to crimp the end. You can see the wire. And do the same again. If it's loose, make sure you crimp it so that it's snug. That's pretty good. And one of these wires is going to be connected to the battery, two red battery wires, and the other is going to be connected to the motor controller. So we can slip these in place. Might want to use needle nose pliers for this. Just make sure that slides in all the way. That's it. There you see our so now we have our switch, our switch plate, our nano board, and our wires ready to connect to our battery and motor controller.